We need to talk about tennis and gambling. I understand that people have really strong opinions about betting. Everyone has different experiences, different perspectives. People are passionate about it. People who like it, they like it a lot. People who don't, kind of hate it. My goal is to speak to everyone here. I want to reach a common ground. It's my goal. I might fail at it. Let's see. But I think the first thing is that there's an obvious phenomenon that is really in stage 3 here when it comes to gambling. Certainly in the United States, at least. And obviously, that's a pretty influential market. I certainly have a blind spot when it comes to certain international trends. But in the U.S., gambling was legalized a couple years back. And after it was legalized federally, it was destigmatized. And then you gave it a couple years. Once it was destigmatized, it was commercialized. There are a couple of examples of this. The NBA was the first league that I saw to partner with a sports book. I know that it's just not the United States because I see that there's been discussion about English Premier League clubs and having gambling companies featured prominently on their kits. And recently, just this year, the WTA actually partnered with FanDuel. And FanDuel became the WTA's first authorized gaming operator, which gave FanDuel rights to WTA trademarks and WTA data. There's a growing gambling economy. And by the way, Tennis Channel, the main rights holder of tennis in the United States, full disclosure, a company I work for, they have partnered with FanDuel and DraftKings for multiple sponsorship opportunities. That's just a buzzword. You know what I mean? They have been in business, right? So these things are happening. They are going to happen. And I think the question that a lot of fans have, in a lot of fans' mind is this bad? Should I be upset about this if I don't like gambling? What might be the effect of this? So I just want to talk about that because I know people have opinions about this. And I just want to offer my perspective of simple question here. Should tennis institutions engage and embrace the gambling economy? Or should they stay away? Should they resist it? And should they not engage in partnerships, business relationships with these gambling companies and engage or embrace the activity of betting? First, I want to thank the sponsor of this video. It's Rally Tennis. Rally Tennis is a new mobile app that makes it easy to play tennis in your area, whether you want to compete or just train. Creating an account is free. Just head over to rallytennis.com or search for Rally Tennis in the App Store. And if you sign up and use me, Gill Gross is your referrer, you will get $10 towards your account. Here's the thing. There are two main concerns when it comes to gambling, downsides. The first is players get abused. It is absolutely pathetic what happens. I am so disgusted, ashamed. I feel so awful for the athletes that have to put up with this. It is totally ridiculous. I mean, it is a display of just human junk that people, after losing bets, feel the need to slide into players' DMs and say nasty things about them, disgusting things often, especially for the female players who, the male players get abused too. The female players get abuse with a certain flavor that makes it even more despicable. I mean, it is pathetic, low-life behavior that is on display when these players reveal what their DMs look like on social media after they lose tennis matches. And the main culprit is gamblers. Nobody is giving death threats to players when they were just rooting for them because they like them. No, the death threats come from angry gamblers, unfortunately. Again, I don't think anyone who does that is watching this channel and is going to be influenced by me, but if you are watching this and you do that, freaking stop, please. Okay. So that's bad. The second bad thing that comes from gambling is match fixing. And tennis is particularly vulnerable when it comes to match fixing because it's a one-on-one sport. It's obviously way harder to coordinate fixing when it comes to a team sport, although it's been done before in team sports. Here's what I say to that. What I say to that is these are not new issues. And gambling, before it was legalized, was kind of like marijuana before it was legalized. If you really wanted to do it, you could do it. It was out there. It was available. Players didn't just start being abused. Players have been abused since social media was around after losing matches. So, oh, by the way, matches were fixed when betting and gambling was underground, when it was shadier, when it was under the table. Matches were being fixed way back when. And by the way, betting on sports, oh boy, that has been around since sports have been around. I mean, there is evidence that, like, the kind of, like the Romans bet on their sports. Like the ancient Romans. Betting has been around forever. And so have a lot of these issues. Fixing, right? Ever since social media, abuse. So these issues predate legalization, destigmatization, and commercialization. They predate those things. So now we're faced with the same question that I opened with, which is, what should tennis institutions do when they're faced with the opportunity to engage with the growing gambling economy? And to me, if tennis resists the betting economy, it'll be taking money out of people's pockets for literally no reason. I see absolutely no benefit to resisting this economy, to resisting this market. And by the way, it's not just capitalism. It's more than capitalism, but a lot of it is capitalism. I want tennis to get rich. I want our players to make money, our tournaments to make money, our tours to make money, our media companies to make money. I want that. That's good for everybody. Even the fans. Trust me, even if you're a fan, you should want that. So yeah, there's certainly a capitalist incentive. That's why this is all happening in the first place. Don't get me wrong. But there also might be just, look, my biggest thing when it comes to tennis, I want people to be interested in the sport. That's number one. I want people to love the sport and to be interested in the sport. Well, according to BetMGM, tennis is the second most bet on sport in the world. It is actually uniquely attractive to gamblers because it's on so much, because it's always on. It's on all hours of the day. And that does make it uniquely attractive to bettors because it's available, right? So that's a strength of tennis. So if that's a strength of tennis, that's actually drawing people to the sport. And that should be a good thing. And you might think that we don't want that kind of fan. I think we want all kinds of fans. In fact, a lot of the smartest, most engaged, and most affectionate tennis fans like to bet on tennis and enjoy betting on tennis. I also think some of the smartest and the most engaged and passionate tennis fans hate gambling. You just have to accept the fact that both cases exist and that there's going to be differences there, and that is okay. Now, I'm not denying that more people may begin to gamble as you increase its visibility, as you destigmatize, as you allow the betting companies to be, in commercial kind of settings, like being a major sponsor of a tournament, or being partners with the WTA, or being prominently advertised on Tennis Channel. It is true that more people may begin to gamble. So with that, I believe the focus needs to be on education. So I won't end this video without arming you with what I believe is the most important thing you can know, which is how to manage your money when you gamble. Josh Applebaum, the author of The Everything Guide to Sports Betting, has some good tips, and I'm going to use those tips as a guideline. And these are tips that are shared with a lot of people in the industry. By the way, full disclosure, most of my knowledge about the industry is because I have worked for the Action Network. It is a company that does not take bets. It is not a gambling company, but it caters sports coverage towards the bettor. It's a company that I believe does very, very good work. I think that there's a lot of garbage in the industry, don't get me wrong, but I believe they are moral, I believe they are smart, I believe they are responsible, and I'm a big fan of everything they do. That is my experience working for them, which I did for a summer as an intern, and then I've done some tennis content for them as well. But my experience with them has shaped a lot of my knowledge about this industry, about this space. So I want to be also transparent about that. So here's what Josh Applebaum said. Decide how much money you are willing to spend and potentially lose on gambling long term. This is your bankroll, right? That is the money you are setting aside to do this activity. It is no different than if you decide you want to go to Wimbledon and you decide how many pounds you're willing to spend. Or you go to the US Open, how many US dollars are you willing to spend, right? Every bet you place should be between 1% and 5% of that number. Follow that, and you should be able to handle the ups and the downs of this crazy, crazy game, which is a crazy game. Follow that 1 to 5% of your bankroll, and you likely won't feel, I hope you will have, first of all, this comes back to character, that you don't abuse the players. But I hope that will just allow everyone to enjoy the gaming that gambling is without all of the downsides and the negatives. I also encourage you that, if you have a gambling problem, to seek the appropriate action there. I believe 1-800-GAMBLER, I believe, is the hotline for gambling addictions. It is a vice, don't get me wrong. It is just like alcohol. It can be unhealthy. It is just, everybody knows gambling is a vice. So it does have its dangers. But again, my net is this. This is not going anywhere. Resisting it in the mainstream for tennis institutions, it's not going to accomplish anything. It's not going to help. The focus needs to be on education. Needs to be focused on how can people bet responsibly, how can people bet without hurting themselves and hurting others. In my opinion, that needs to be the focus. Not let's ignore gambling and see if it goes away, because it's not going to go away. If you hate it, I also hope that will never impede your enjoyment of tennis, right? That you'll never feel left out if you hate gambling. It should never come to that either. So look, it's again, a tough issue. People are going to have different perspectives on this, different points of view. That's all right. Let me know what you think. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.